ask these 9 questions, the narcissist will bolt and the narcissist game. These are 9 questions narcissists can't answer. Ask them. As you invest in your primary relationships, there are certain basics you want to maintain so the relationship can reward you at the deepest levels and be something that truly brings out the best in you and inspires the best in those around you. These healthy characteristics include openness, curiosity, mutual interest in each other, and a sense of accountability. Basically, you want a sense of teamwork that says, I want to share who I am with you, and I want to know you, and I want to know who you are so we can pool our resources together and encourage and support each other as the days, weeks, months, and years go by. That's how healthy relationships function. Now let's insert a narcissist into this equation and see what happens. Here they come, ready to mess up all these good ingredients. Narcissists don't want the sense of teamwork. They want you on their team. But for them, that means they want you to be their sub. Therefore, narcissists carefully craft their own narrative where they are the hero, they are the winner, and they are the know-it-all. So you're not getting honesty from them. They don't want you to think they are just part of the group. They need to be a little bit above everyone else in the group. So self-revelation is completely uncomfortable for them. They are calculated. They are always looking for an angle. These are just some of the things you won't access inside that person. I prepared 9 questions here that a narcissist can't answer because it requires an honesty they simply don't possess. If you want to take any decision about your life with a narcissist and need counseling, you can directly call us to book a session to find a solution to your narcissistic problem. We specialize in narcissistic relationship counseling. So I'm going to jump into these 9 questions and I want you to understand it like something you confront in your life with some narcissists. Exposing the narcissist's vulnerabilities. Asking about deep pains. What are some of your deepest fears? If you ask a narcissist these questions, they'll look at you like you just asked the dumbest thing ever. They'll say, I don't have any deep pains. Sometimes they might say, yeah, there were these people here and they weren't great. Or I didn't like how these people behaved. But then they'll always say, but it doesn't bother me. That's their problem. They won't admit they struggle or have experienced strain and tension. They'll place them, but in the end, they have to project, I am so strong. I'm so much better than all of that. You might have pain, but they don't. But then, if you think about it, if they don't have any pain, why are they so mean or rude to other people? They had to learn that somewhere. But they don't grasp that this shows they were on the receiving end of some improper treatment. Their notion is that they can't admit it to show their strength. They are above all of those things. Yeah, those are you guys' weaknesses, not mine. While in healthy relationships, we understand that admitting weaknesses is a strength. That doesn't apply to the narcissist. Now, next question. Question number 2. Challenging the narcissist ego. Talking about mistakes. This is connected to the first question. Why is it so difficult to admit flaws and mistakes? Even impossible. Whenever a narcissist screws up or makes a mistake, and we all do, they can't say that didn't go well, or I miscalculated, or I looked at that the wrong way. I'm so sorry. They can't do that. If the mistake is so obvious that you have to acknowledge something went wrong, they'll just say, it was your fault, definitely not mine. So they'll pull up the blame on you. Narcissists have a thick wall of defensiveness around them. you won't get to know them. It's very threatening for them to admit flaws and talk about their mistakes because, number 3, understanding the narcissist's insecurity. The need to impress strangers. It means they are a regular person and it's impossible for them to think that, no, you don't know me as a regular person. Now, question number 3. This might make you think, why do you feel the need to impress strangers? When I'm around strangers, or you are around people you don't know very well, you certainly want to be friendly and present pleasantly, right? But when narcissists look at people they don't know very well, they think this is a blank slate and I can write whatever story I want on it. So strangers are a symbol of shallowness and superficiality to them. They just don't know what they don't know. So the narcissists think, I'll tell you how amazing I am. They'll make up all sorts of stories or exaggerate how wonderful they are. They are fishing for admiration. When they have someone who doesn't have the advantage of the behind the scenes stuff, it's an opportunity for them. They think I'll get admiration from them. They'll think I'm such a great person, when in reality, it's all phony. True admiration, affirmation, love, and encouragement come when you know each other's fullness, pluses and minuses, not just superficial stuff. Here's another truth that applies to the narcissist. So question number 4, breaking the narcissist control, discussing differences. Why do my differences threaten you so much? If you interpret things differently, if you have a different emotional reaction, or if you have a different preference for them, it's like, why are you doing this to me? And it threatens them. This is because they have no empathy. They don't have the notion that other people have their own angles from which they operate. Empathy means you are willing to see life from another person's perspective. But for the narcissist, it's, I have no curiosity about you, think and feel. I have no desire for another perspective. So, of course, your difference threatens them in the sense that it says, you're not the center of the universe in this moment. And their response is, oh yeah, I am. This shows their lack of interest in you and their need to be the center of attention at all times. Number 5, tackling the narcissist, one-sided thinking, arguing opinion validity. Do you honestly believe your opinions cancel out the validity of others' opinion? If you ask this, well, there are so many different topics and subjects that ignite varying opinions. These can be big things like politics and religion. These are topics we could talk about all day and have very different thoughts about. But they can also be simple things like what you enjoy for entertainment or where you want to go on vacation. Narcissists believe their opinions are the only valid ones. Narcissists have an opinion about everything and they think their opinion is the correct one. If you disagree with them, they'll look at you like you have committed a crime. To them, their opinion is a fact. This shows their insecurity. They can't accept that someone else might have a valid perspective. They feel that if they validate someone else's opinion, it means their own opinion is weak. In healthy relationships, we understand that everyone has their unique perspective. We learn from each other, and even if we don't always agree. But for the narcissist, this concept is alien. Number 6, dealing with the narcissist perfectionist thinking. Questioning the need to be always right. How do you explain your need to always be right? For the narcissist, being wrong is existential. They'll never admit they could be wrong because they feel it diminishes their self-worth. If you ask them this question, they'll get defensive. They'll say, I don't try to always be right. I just am right. Or they'll change the topic and start blaming you for challenging them. This behavior reflects their fragile self-esteem. They're so insecure that they can't accept any mistake or weaknesses, even if it's a minor one. Number 7, confronting the narcissist jealousy. Talking about others' successes. Why do you struggle to celebrate others' successes? For the narcissist, life is a constant competition. When someone else achieves success, they see it as their own failure. They feel like if someone else is getting the spotlight, it's being stolen from them. If you didn't get that Mercedes, so it was them. You took them away. If you ask them this, they might say they celebrate other successes, but in reality, they'll either ignore it or they'll try to minimize the person's achievement. This behavior shows their deep-seated jealousy and insecurity. They are only happy when they are on top and anyone else's success threatens them. Number 8, challenging the narcissist's selfishness. The ability to focus on others' need. Can you genuinely put someone else's need before your own? This question challenges the narcissist to their core. To them, their needs are the most important. They might claim they are caring and generous, but in reality, their actions are always self-serving. If you ask them this, they'll either be confused or they'll try to manipulate you. They might say, of course, I always think about others. But if you look at their actions, you'll see it's just words. For the narcissist, empathy and self-sacrifice are alien concepts. They only help others when they think it will benefit them somehow. Number 9, diminishing the narcissist's overconfidence. Discussing lack of expertise. How do you handle situations where you are not the expert? For the narcissist, this is a very uncomfortable situation. They always want to appear as the most knowledgeable and capable person. So when they are in a topic or situation where they don't have expertise, they feel uneasy. If you ask them this question, their typical responses might be something like, they'll try to change the topic. They'll lie and claim they are an expert in that field too. They'll attack someone else or try to discredit the person who actually is the expert. Or they'll downplay the situation, saying the topic or skill isn't important. Healthy individuals know that not everyone can be an expert in everything. They are comfortable admitting they don't know something and they are eager to learn from others. But for the narcissist, this is a huge challenge. This question reveals the narcissist's inability to handle not being the best or smartest person in the room. It exposes their deep-rooted insecurity and constant need for superiority. Remember, in a healthy relationship, partners complement each other's strength and learn from each other. If you are with someone who always has to appear as the most knowledgeable, it can limit growth and mutual learning in the relationship. The art of effectively dealing with narcissists. All these questions challenge the narcissist's core beliefs and behaviors. They expose their insecurities, lack of empathy, and constant need for validation. If you're dealing with a narcissist, remember, you can't change them. But these questions can help you better understand their behavior and protect yourself. Remember, healthy relationships have mutual respect, empathy, and genuine care. If you're not getting those things, it's okay to prioritize your own well-being and set boundaries. If you learned something from this video, and if these ideas connect with you, please click the thanks button and support our channel. Join our community of self-explorers by subscribing. Let's walk this journey together and embrace our true selves. If you want to take any decisions about your life with a narcissist and need counseling, you can directly call us to book a session and find a solution to your situation. We specialize in narcissistic relationship counseling. Remember, you can and you will heal. Just start today. Thank you.